So I was recently hired by a client to develop the sound effect for this object in the video, and this object or the enemy is called Glapron in the game. That's how they chose to name it. And they wanted me to produce this character sound for this particular character. It took me a lot of time to decide how I want to pursue this, and I realized I want to do a lot of things with this. And what I started off, I created and I used some of the library that I have, and I created this sound for it. And this sound is basically focused on two objects. Uh, I wanted it to have this low bass water sound, so I decided to give it some sci-fi transition sounds. And since the game has this ghost ambience in it, and this is a ghost that the character has to kill to move forward, so that's why I decided to have this kind of sounds. And then so all this is scrappy transitions from this elevator sound, and both of them combined. So this was my idea of this character's bass entrance. So as soon as you see this character, the audio starts for it. So this was the first thing, and so basically what I did is I started creating different layers. This is how I usually start my work. So this is my first layer of audio, and this is the same audio that I used previously, but here the bass low end has been removed. So this is there, and then some squishy sound as it's sucking things. And then I added this vampire sound. So it kind of gives this something is eating or something is trying to digest this particular item and how it's working. And I use this voice designer from Nuendo. It's a very good device. So without this is how the original sound was. And then so it makes it more creepier. So the next thing that I added to my audio was this guitar pedal sound, and again it's going through this sound designer over here, voice designer, and then some EQ just to add or decrease some frequency ranges. This is without the EQ, this is the original effect. Then and then I applied some EQ. So I'm giving some boost to my low range over here. Then the next track from this sequence was this two electric current sounds that I wanted to add, and the second one has a voice designer. So let's listen to the second one first. So again it's going to start. So there in my brain I decided it like this: if something has to start it, there should be a starting point, then a midpoint, and then an ending point. So it's about to attack, and this is audio cue for the player to know something is about to start. And without the voice designer, this is how it was, but voice designer makes it very different. It's not as direct. and then just to complement it, I added this second sound. So this is how the whole attack sound sounds. And then I move to the next part of this glabron, which is when an object hits the body of the glabron. This was a very time consuming and difficult part because it's a watery object. You cannot show it just an object hitting water, doesn't work like that. So I had to think of a solution as to how it can work. So I recorded different strikes to wood, and within this game the player has different objects that can be used to hit the portion or section. For example, they can use a chair or something else. So there are different sounds that I added. This was a chair sound that I recorded, and this is some different sounds. So these were different samples towards how the body of this object can work and how you can hit it. And then the same thing applied over here with the punches. Um these are also a lot of different audio tracks, audio recordings. So this is like when you're jabbing something, it's a regular punch thing. So if I combine this one with this one, so it gives this thickness to the sound, and that's how I wanted it, because the character can actually punch it. And these are some of the sounds that I decided that I should have over here as well. And then if we talk about the death of our character, so this is how I wanted it to die. So there are multiple layers of sounds here as well, once again, and quite a lot of them. Let's go on one by one. So if we are just listening to this, and I will just get rid of these, and now we are just listening. So it's a simple inhaler sound. If you just look at the visual, through visual we can see that I think there is some other channel. Okay, yeah. So I basically just, and then I will do this, and but if we just look at the visual, we see that the whole thing has this vibe where there's a blast and there is fog, and how it goes up. So naturally I would assume I wanted to give this experience of audio going up and of a blast or a blow. And in this case, okay, there is one. Okay, yeah, this is the reason why this one is running. Yeah, so this is when the guitar hits the uh, body of the glabron. And how I can do is that so here I have some of the objects that are actually hitting the body, and I will start muting all of these, and we can just listen to the main audio. Start with the main audio. So now when I listen to this is the first sound, simple inhale sound, then another short spray. So first impact, and there is a little different impact, and this is actually a squeeze. This is actually when if you have this offers chair and then you sit on it, then you allow it to go down, so it's one of those sounds. And then a longer spray, some more spray, and this was my favorite one. I decided to use one of my iron press, and this is when it's hot and you throw some water on it, or if you spray the water from it. If we just listen to this particular track, this is how it sounds, and there are some more sounds with it. And yeah. So these are again the objects that hit the bot. So the whole audio, and this is how it should sound. Without these two objects. So these two are basically the objects that hit the. So if you hit it with a chair, okay, yeah. So this is how the whole object dying thing works in my sound design. And then the next thing was this Glabron voice. This was a good experience. So what I decided to do is this create this voice for the object, and in this case I decided to do this voice thing and added this bug effect on it, and without the bug I made this sound, and this is how it sounds. And then I did another version, and this time it's going more towards the bass without it. And let's look at this one. So my third version of the same. So it's mostly a lot of sounds combined together. It gives this interesting effect. And the next two sounds are just mute because I did not use them. And this one is again with more voice design. And this is most like when you are in a state of stress or something like that and you're being pushed. So sometimes it's easier when you make these sounds from your mouth and then you just apply some effect on it. It's easier to get to the main result. And same sound but different experience, and this time I decided to make it with a different effect. So you can always start with some of those built-in versions, and then you can go forward and see how it feels to you. And overall this is how my Cleveron sounds. These are more samples that I recorded, and I can always go back and choose more versions. So this is the reason why it's there. This is the spray sound over here, and then as soon as it's there, so there's this final cry of the Cleveron. So in in total, if we just listen to the sound of the glabron, and then there's this glabron bass, and this this is how this whole thing should sound. Let's say if you want to see what's coming from here, and this is how my glabron sound design was focused on. And I did use some more samples. They come from this process of constantly recording and trying out different audios and different things. And yeah, to record the main body effects and all these things, I also decided to use a balloon, and with this balloon I used my Tascam to record the audio with the water in a big pot. And I will add this video in the main video. This is how I did my most of the sound. Thank you for watching. I hope you like it, and if you have anything else, then let me know. This is my glabron body sound from the same video that I just recorded. And if we look at this, a lot of samples, because it was very difficult for me to identify how I want this thing to actually sound, and it did take a lot of time to come up with the best sample. So a lot of time and effort, but in the end I thought it's a good choice. What the end result was the best thing. So I'll just mute these tracks, and then we will start listening to them one by one and see how it goes. Okay, we don't need loop for now. Let's just do it like this, like these. Okay, and Alt P. So now if I want to just listen to this particular first balloon hit, so this is when the balloon was dipped into the water, and then same thing repeated, a little louder just to give it more impact and experience. And then so it's mostly just the repetition of the same sound but with different intensities, and that's how you make the difference in the audio. And multiple layers, and this is when we moved into some like glass. This is where I used a glass hitting the water surface, and this is another version, and this is the third version. So this is basically when the glabron is being hit by something. This is how I wanted it to sound, because again it was very difficult to see and to imagine how this object should have the audio. So in essence, if I just move this to here and then move this thing back down, because this is not what I need,